Hello everyone, welcome to the Innovation Lab podcast, where we release the frontiers of innovation and leadership guests. Today I'm going to be your host, and I'm Adele, and we're going to explore the artificial intelligence realm with the guest Joan Salvatella, an expert of integrating AI into the business, and also a co-founder of AI tech startup. So, hi, nice meeting you, Joan.
Nice to meet you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the podcast?
It's really interesting. That's like when we first had a talk about it, I thought it's really important to have, the new leaders understand what are the capabilities around AI, because now there's a lot of things going on around it, and it's knowledge is the best way to know how to move forward with it.
That's why we try to bring all the ideas on the table and actually discuss it. So, to kick things off, could you start by introducing yourself, telling us about your professional career and your experience working with AI?
Yes, so I'm Joan Salvatella. I'm the co-founder of Bookline. We are leaders in conversational AI here in Spain. We are specialized in the restaurant, accommodation, healthcare, and beauty industries, offering AI solutions that work both over the phone and WhatsApp. Basically, we are offering voice bots and chatbots to automate conversations in order to help our customers increase their revenue when talking to their customers.
Amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. And coming from that, we can see how AI changes and transforms business world. In your experience, what are the most significant changes and challenges when AI brought to the business world?
Yeah. So I like to think about it in a different way, in the sense that before AI, there were a lot of things that we were doing manually. There are a lot of things that we didn't even know that we could do, right? So with AI, we can actually tackle both. Using this technology, we can do things that we never expected that we could be doing, right? For example, when we are in a factory and we are actually producing machinery, right? We need to have a look at every piece that we are making that would be impossible, right? So before AI, people were just randomly choosing pieces to check, right? Now
it's like a component of the algorithm.
Yeah,
I see.
Exactly. And we now can have a computer check at every piece. With that, we can make sure that we are doing things the way that we want it. Before that, it was impossible, right? But then we also have the other point of view. For example, in medicine, right? In medicine, when someone is ill, we need to take, for example, a radiography, right? To see what's going on inside. And we always take this picture and there's always someone checking it. But what if that person is tired that day and they don't see something that is actually there, right? So using these technologies, we can do our job better. And we are not substituting them, right? Basically, in this there are jobs where we are looking to have less involvement from people, but there are jobs where we just want to enhance the job that they are already doing, right?
Okay, yeah, absolutely, I agree. It's like the advent of AI revolutionized the way businesses operate just by optimizing activities or automating the tasks, as you said. But how are we going to affect the labor? Like on the labor. What are your points on that?
On labor, it's like with every other revolution. There are some jobs that will be disappearing, but some others will be created. Usually, the amount of jobs that will be created is less than the jobs that will be taken. But we need to understand on different concepts. It's not about the amount of jobs, but also the quality of the jobs that we want to do, right? And also, instead of having 8-hour work day routines, we can go to 6 to 4, right? So it's not that, we need to worry that we're creating more jobs. It's like maybe we can have better jobs for people.
It's also enhancing personal time, personal value of work life, as I understood. Okay,
Totally.
Good. But I think with this should also come the literacy on how to actually operate or integrate those services or AI platforms into the business, and not just go all risky.
when trying to develop the future, there are some compromises that need to be made, and it's not obvious always the solution, but it's good to be aware of the problems that are in the way, so that we can take the time and effort to fix them, right? So as long as we know, the end goal and what are the pros and cons that should be considered, I think we should be good to go.
Yeah, it's like you have to focus on the intentions, and intentions should be right, and then you gotta do your things.
Yes.
And see what happens, and then
Exactly.
improve your actions to the right outcome.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. And also, as far as I know, you're an investor.
Yes.
In AI startups. Yeah. So, what motivated you to specialize in the AI field, and what made you involve in the investments of?
Okay.
This?
It's a very good question, because whenever you want to start investing in something, I think it's a very good advice to know where you are putting your money, right? So I thought, okay, what I'm good at. And since I come from a technological background where I have specialized in AI my whole life, I thought maybe I can develop a good eye into investing in AI startups. So that's why I thought about specializing in this, because I might be interested in other startups, but I don't know if I can actually help them, in any way. And also I know when a good AI startup is arising, because I know the technology behind it. So I thought, yeah, let's put the money where I can actually understand what they do.
So you also cooperate with those businesses that you invest in, or?
Yes, I think that's the best way to actually participate, because if you don't want to have a relationship with the entrepreneur, I think it's better to go for stocks, right? Where you just put the money and forget. As a founder of a startup, I really appreciate finding investors that actually help you, right? And usually, when you're trying to raise money, you look for investors that can actually help you develop a market, that can actually help you, cover for those areas where you don't feel so comfortable, right? For example, we, on our first seed round, we looked for a different kind of investors where we could actually have some experience in marketing, because we had no background with it, so they could actually help us. Also with some senior expertise in talking with big corporations, because we came from a background where I'm older now, right? But when I started, I always had I always interacted with more juniors myself. So it's like I need someone that can give me some advice on how to move this forward. And these are some examples. But try to, as an entrepreneur, try to find investors that can help you develop what you're trying to do.
From whom you can learn.
Exactly.
Surround everyone from whom you can learn, or just take something.
You just said the key word for me, because one of the things that I found most lacking when I started, this entrepreneurship road, is that I no longer had a boss from whom I could learn. It's like, oh damn, I need to learn on my own, and this is something I really like. But there are some times that you need someone, a mentor, to look up to.
You're just very independent, and you feel the freedom of whenever you can go, what you actually want to do. And I think that's also a struggle for us to choose the path, to go to the corporate world or to start something on your own. So very inspiring. And for the listeners, maybe they might approach you with their idea, business ideas, or those considering investing in AI startups. What factors do you think are crucial for the long-term success, or should be prioritized in the businesses?
Okay, so AI is just a technology, right? And usually when you want to invest in a company, you should want to make sure that the problem that they are solving is a big problem, or a problem that is worth solving, because usually the technical part is the easy part, even though that it's very complicated behind it. It's more difficult to find a problem that is worth solving, right? And that people is willing to pay to get solved. They don't always go together, because there are problems that people want to get solved, but they don't want to pay for that. So finding the good mix is very important. So I would say, regardless of the technology behind it, but I think AI is a very good technology to get things solved, especially now. Focus on a team that is dedicated into solving a problem that customers actually have. So it's like product market fit is, I wouldn't say don't invest in a company that hasn't found product market fit yet, but at least have a very good intuition that they will be getting that soon.
And how do you decide what problem is worth solving?
Okay, that really depends on you, because there are problems in, they say
everywhere, of course.
It's everywhere. They say some other investors say invest in a company that has had the problem themselves, because they know then how painful it is to not have it. Right? In our scenario, it was kind of different. We didn't follow that path because we started with the restaurant industry, where we were automating phone calls, right, to automate reservation management for restaurants. And we felt the pain on the other side, not on the side of the restaurant, but on the side of the customer. Basically, we were calling a restaurant to make a reservation, and no one would ever pick up. Right? So we saw there's a problem here, and we started interacting with restaurant owners and said, yeah, we never pick it up because we are busy. We are doing our job. So from there we could actually find the problem. And for us it was something that we saw, but it wasn't painful to us. It was painful for them. If we had any previous experience working, as a restaurant owner, we would know better. So a good way to find a problem to solve is look for problems that you have, right? And with that, you can actually see how that can go.
Okay. Is it better to actually research the problem itself, or just have the experience of the problem and face it on your own?
You can either face it on your own, but usually it's better to just talk with people that have the problem, right? So let's see, you do some research, internal research, and think, oh, what are the problems that I have? Basically, depending on the career that you have had until now, you may have one kind of problems or different kind of problems. For example, if you are young and you are still in the university, you are more likely to have the same problems as all of your colleagues because you've had kind of the same life. I would recommend first going into any business, learn it, understand it, and then you will see other kind of problems. Some that are generic, that are specific to all different industries, or that are cross industry. And as that's why most successful entrepreneurs are older, because they have seen many different things and they already know the solution for those problems. Whereas if you start as an entrepreneur very young, you don't have that experience. Of course, there are exceptions, and that should not be a barrier for you to start anything. But you should be really determined into fixing that problem. And usually, either you have felt it on your own, or you have talked to many people that had it, and you thought, this is where I should be focusing my life.
It's like, so I listened to one podcast where it says, if you don't relate yourself with this problem or the thing that you really want to do, you're not going to have this commitment or dedication to actually do the thing.
Yes. So let me give you a brief example. When we started Bookline, right, it was in 2019. Even though that we started, coding and everything 2018, what happened in 2020? And we started with the restaurant industry. So with COVID, everything went down.
Shut down.
Yeah, so it's like maybe some other people would have stopped, but we couldn't. We were determined into fixing it. And I don't want to go over everything, but there are 3 times that the company died, where we saw that we dropped to 0. It's like, either you are crazy right? And you keep hitting the same wall, or you're really determined into doing something. And for us, it's kind of both, but hopefully, and now we are in a very, very good place.
But you broke the wall, so
yes. So, but
all good.
you know, the learning should not be hit the head on, to the wall until you break it. Maybe try find the door. But yeah, there are some exceptions.
I see. Wow. Hope people on the other sides are taking notes. And as we talked about the priorities or the commitment you should have, what do you see the biggest risks are in investing in AI field?
Okay.
I think there are many.
Yes. Oh, there are. Especially, you know, the technology itself don't have any, will not do any harm. It's how you use the technology, right? So when investing in an AI company, you should make sure that the end goal that they are trying to pursue is aligned with what you believe in your values, right? So if for example, you want to invest in a company that is working in, you know, in the HR industry, right? And they use AI, you should be kind of wary on how they use AI, because in those scenarios, a lack of, you know, making, and especially understanding what are the ethical implications of different algorithms. If you don't have an understanding on those things, you could be doing harm, right? So make sure that the people leading that company are aware of it, because then they will worry about putting the right, you know, things in place so that those things don't happen, right? And besides that, I just want to highlight, you know, ethics are a very important thing, but usually in startups it's very complicated to keep them in mind. So let me give you maybe a brief experience on how we develop, right? Legality, right? Everyone wants to comply with legality. They want to be compliant. But whenever you're starting something, either you don't know the law, or you just don't have the resources to even know that you're doing it, right? So it's like big corporations should be investing in making sure that they are compliant the very first day that the law is out. But startups, in my opinion, should have some leeway, and they should be able to, you know, make sure that they eventually become compliant. So I think with ethics, it's kind of the same. You should be looking to a company that is looking to be, you know, ethical around it. But if they worry too much about it, they might die because they don't have the resources to continue developing the company. Right? If the very first day, instead of focusing on delivering a solution to your client, you're focusing on, oh, we need to make sure this and that are in place, you're dead.
Wow, that's an interesting point. I've never thought of this before, and I actually wanted to bring the topic of ethical implications because that's a huge debate around AI. But you as an investor, do you actually assess those things when having a pitch of...
So this may be a little bit controversial, right? I do, but for me, if they don't have the metrics, they are not getting enough revenue, and they talk about it, I think they are just using buzzwords. And I either they are just using buzzwords to, you know, make the investor feel better about themselves so that they invest in them. So then I don't. If they are honest about it and they say, we don't actually comply, but we are aware that this is a problem, then I do. Because then this means that they are honest with their investors, which is very important. And also, I know that they are aware that they should be doing something, but in the future.
And do they actually step on the right road? Do they actually comply after some time? Or can it be just another buzzword, right?
Yeah, I understand. I haven't, you know, I don't have a track record so long that I can actually bring some experience here. But in the companies that I've invested so far, they are determined into complying. That's something I can say for sure.
Okay, it's good. We have to make sure.
Yes.
Of these things. Yeah, wow. Okay, and in the end, I'm just thinking what advice we can say to people, to entrepreneurs who want to start the business around the AI field?
So they need a technical co-founder. And also, if they are a technical co-founder, they need a business co-founder, right? Because they are two roles that are very different somehow. And usually the technical guy, not always, of course, focuses too much on the technology and falls in love with the technology. That's a problem.
Oh, really?
And the business person doesn't understand how the technology works, or they kind of do, but not so much, and then they tend to oversell things that are impossible. So it's like a good compromise here. So if you're willing to start a startup in the AI world, first try to find a mentor that can actually help you cover the gaps in your knowledge and in the things that you still don't know, and also try to find the best team to develop to develop what you are trying to do, because it's very difficult to have one person that knows everything. So try to find the best team that you can gather to actually make sure that the problem that you want to solve can get solved.
Yeah, it's like a business co-founder is willing to sell everything to everyone, right? And the technical guy is just around the technology and playing it with their own child.
Yes.
And you said that it's a big problem. Why? What is it?
You need to make sure that those two align together, because I've had this experience where I could talk. I saw two founders, right? One was obsessed into adding more features, but man, you need to sell. It's not always about adding features. You need to focus on marketing, on distribution, how you're going to make sure that the thing that you just created can actually help someone, right? So, the tech guy usually is more about features, and you need to make sure that the business person is like, no, let's try to have something that is good enough so that we can sell it, and let that person that we have sold to tell us what we need to be doing, what features we need to be adding.
But when do you know when is the right thing to actually release the service?
The sooner the better.
Product.
The sooner the better, yes.
To just get the feedback and then improve the product. It's like iterating.
Yes. In our case, so we developed our MVP, right? And instead of trying to find a person that had the problem, we just shared it with our family, with our friends, because it was easier, and they were all interested in learning what we have been doing. And the feedback that they gave us brought us to the wrong direction, because they were just giving us feedback of things that are not real, that the person that is actually paying for the service does not have that problem, right? So the sooner the better that you can ship something and have that something that you have created fix the problem, even if it's a little bit, the feedback that you will get will be the best feedback that you can get. So it's like, at first you never charge for it. You just need to, how is it called? I think that there is a user cycle or something like that. There are the early adopters, user journey. Right? So the early adopters, you need to find those, because they are always excited about new technology. Have someone like that try your product. They will be so happy to do it. But then there are the late adopters. I don't know how to call it. Those are like, until you are a solution that is very mature in the market, that have known you for years, they will never try it.
It's like long-term initiatives. The one that you're gonna reach the later. Latest.
Yeah,
totally. I understood. Okay, so to wrap up, the advice is like to enhance the communication between technology and business, and actually align it together to create the value and deliver it as soon as possible.
Yes, because that will be the North Star for the next steps. Make sure that business and technology should be aligned, but make sure that it's aligned with the market. So let's have these three things aligned, and then you're golden.
I see. Well, that's perfect. And then the question arises in my mind: what actually separates AI field from any other business? As it's also creating a product or a solution for customers, but what is the uniqueness in it?
So for me, AI is just a technology. It's just the means to get a problem solved, right? So it's not necessary, to solve everything with AI now. What I think is the technological advances and progress that we have made are bringing more opportunities. That's why we hear more about AI now, because the technology behind it is enabling us to do more. That's why, because for example, it's just an example, startups that use web technologies or regular web technologies, this technology has been around for a while already. So the progress and the advances that you can make there are not there anymore, or they have been exploited enough. But AI, like we know, every year they're just adding, increasing the level a little bit more so we can do more, and that's why we have more opportunities. But I don't think that we should obsess about one technology or the other. I do as an investor because I know I can do something about it, but it's not something that I would highly recommend everyone.
And where we have to place our focus on the next drive, as you said, there comes more than AI.
Oh, but you mean as as a society, what is coming next? It's very difficult. I don't have to predict the future. I don't know how to do that.
Of course, but like,
I'm thinking that in the future we will be seeing more advances in AI, but for sure, I'm sure you will be familiar with the Gartner hype cycle. I think with AI we are kind of at the peak, especially in conversational AI. That's where I'm at. We are at the peak. So I totally see that we will be doing great things with AI, but for sure in the future, I think that we will have another thing come up and we will forget about AI for a while, and we will be hitting the plateau of innovation where we just focus on using the technology for what it's good for and not obsessing about it as we are doing now. And for example, the metaverse. Everybody was talking about it, and now everybody has forgotten about it. I think it will be back in a way that feels more natural, and eventually I think there will be a way where it actually fits. We have tried, I think, 3 times with the metaverse in the latest decades. Eventually this will work, but not yet.
Oh yeah, it's like a bad analogy, but I thought of a new toy that we're gonna be addicted.
Yes, no, it's a very good analogy.
So yeah, after like a social media, then a metaverse, I don't know, like a TikTok, we can say short form content, and now AI. What comes next? Gonna crash our minds?
Yes.
But I think no, we're just gonna get used to it and wait for the other thing to be released.
Totally. And it will be like it has happened already. People will obsess about it, then a lot of companies will arise around it, a lot of people trying to surf the wave will join, but not everyone tries to do it in a way that is sustainable. So it's like the cycle. We will see it rise and we will see it fall.
Of course. Okay, so Juan, your insights have been very informative for our podcast, and to our listeners, thank you for joining us for this episode. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to follow our Instagram page and support us for the upcoming events of Innova. So see ya. Bye. Hope you enjoyed it.